Can you tell me what's happening there? Yes, I just killed my daughter.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's Angel the pmhnp, and it is 2023. Woo! Thank God we made it to see another year. I know every year we start out with our new goals, and we had goals from last year. Some we made, some we didn't. And the real blessing is that we are here to see another year, and that means another 365 days to do whatever we didn't finish last year and to do whatever we want to do this year. Today, I kind of wanted to talk to you about something different that is like heavy on my mind as I'm working in a prison and then just as things are happening in the world. And I'm really interested in things that are like, is it demonic or is it mental health? So before I started this job, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you that are new to the channel, I am a travel nurse practitioner. I was a travel ICU nurse prior to this for I think about 13 years or something. But now I'm a travel nurse practitioner, and my first job is in a prison. Very interesting to say the least. But prior to me starting in the prison, I was led to read these books by a friend of mine that she was led to it, and we've been reading these books together. Well, one of the books that I've been led to read was a book called Deliverance from Demonic Covenants and Curses. This is what the book looks like, and it's a book by Reverend James Solomon. And in this book, it talks about a lot of demonic things that are in churches, in people, in different countries, different things like that. The book, very interesting. It's actually kind of almost unbelievable if you are not a person that kind of believes in demons and believes in angels and just have any type of understanding of the spiritual realm of things. So it's kind of unbelievable with some people, but I completely believe in it. You know, that's my full disclaimer. And as I read this book prior to me going into the prison, and now that I'm in the prison, and I talk to these patients who have committed, heinous crimes. Some of them talk about demons, and some of them talk about not remembering when they actually committed the crime, what happened. They kind of remember before and after, but not actually what happened. So in reading this book and reading how demons operate, it kind of has me thinking about a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in the world today. Over like about 6 or 7 days ago, there was a new case that, happened back in Miami, Florida. And it was a 24-year-old mother stabbed her 3-year-old daughter to death. Because I don't want to use the word killed and all that, I'm just going to say unalived her daughter. I don't know why. It's just because it just sounds so bad, because it's a little innocent life that was taken. But what will make somebody do something like that is what I'm asking myself. From what we know so far, there's no reports of her having any mental illness prior to this unaliving her daughter. There's no documented or reported information from family or friends at this time of this video that she's had any mental health illnesses. But what we do know is a couple things that happened to her leading up to her unaliving her daughter. In September of last year, her mother died of cancer. September, which will be about 4 months ago, her mother died of cancer. She was unemployed, and 2 or 3 days prior to her unaliving her daughter, she received an eviction notice. So let's talk about those 3 things that happened to her so far. Grief, losing a mother, a parent, period, is a life-altering event, a life-changing event to lose a parent. It changes your life forever. We don't know the dynamics of at this time of what her relationship was like with her mother. Like, was her mother the sole provider for them? Was she living with her mother? It takes about, depending on where you are and what's going on, it could take anywhere between 30 and 60 days or longer for an eviction notice to go through. So it could be she was living with her mom, she wasn't employed at the time, grieving her mother, had no desire or will to actually go out and look for a job, and then boom, right after the holidays, you get an eviction notice. An eviction notice, a life-altering event. An eviction notice is a life-altering event. You're thinking, where am I going to live? I have a child, where am I going to live? Being unemployed is a life-altering event. Now, none of these by no means are no excuses or anything for her. What I am trying to set the tone to think about is that her mind was the devil's playground. The devil likes to take advantage of situations like grief, when you're unemployed, when you're facing eviction, when you're ill. The devil likes to use those moments to get into your head and just really kind of take over and make you feel like everything is crumbling down around you. It makes you think of the worst case scenarios, put stuff in your head that really may not have to happen, but he could keep you in that grief longer if you allow him to. Grief has no healing time frame on it. Like my dad died in 2019. I still grieve my dad. I still have triggers that something can be said or something can be happening and it makes me think of my dad. It makes me sad. But I don't live in grief of my dad. I have to keep moving on. I don't think you ever really stop grieving somebody you loved and cared about. You just learn to live without them. But this was also new for her. She just lost her mom 4 months ago. No job, and got an eviction notice. Now, on social media, there's a lot of stuff going around about, oh, schizophrenia is real. She must have, she's bipolar, all type of stuff they were saying. Bipolar is such a misused word in the world, period. People just think, oh, a person, one day they're happy and one day they're sad, and they're like, oh, she's bipolar or he's bipolar. They're so far from the truth. People have their up and down days, but it doesn't make them bipolar. So I've seen different diagnoses from the general public that they have just thrown on her, and they talk about mental illness and all of these things as basically them diagnosing her. I'm not diagnosing her because I don't have enough information about anything about her other than what is being reported in the media. But I want to talk about the demonic part of it all, because that's something that we could use and make an assessment if there are no prior mental health things, that come out later from her or her family. The devil's playground is your mind when you're sad, when you're extremely depressed, when you don't know where your next meal is coming from, when you don't know where your next dollar is coming from, when you don't know where you're going to live. That is an opportunity for the devil to come in and really take over. Imagine people who are wealthy and rich that we know of that commit suicide. They got it all. And the devil still found a way to get in there and make them want to commit suicide. I think suicide is definitely a demonic act. I do know that certain mental health illnesses can cause you, and medications can cause you to feel suicidal. But I think the actual commitment of the act is, don't kill me for this because I'm a mental health nurse practitioner or professional that I feel this way, but it is what it is. Like, my spiritual beliefs and my professional beliefs, I feel like they intertwine. I just think that the world is just not open enough to it to understand it. Like, I don't think that everybody who commits a heinous crime did it because they are schizophrenic, or they did it because they are antisocial personality disorder. I don't feel like everybody does that. Some of them, yes. Some of them, yes. But I don't feel that all of them are. I do feel like a lot of things have demonic nature to it. It's a demonic attack in those situations, especially the ones where people don't quite remember what happened during those moments. Is because probably it was a demonic spirit that had taken over your body and committed the crime. It's very possible. But there are some mental health and, science things that support that people, black out and don't remember those things. But I'm going with demonic attack. So I want to say that this young lady, I'm going to let you finish listening to the police recording call that she called when she said that she had unalived her daughter. Listen to this.
Can you tell me what's happening there? Yes, I just killed my daughter. How old is your daughter? 3. Is there anyone else in the house? God. And how did you kill your daughter? I tried strangling her. That didn't work, so I stabbed her with a knife.
So I know when you listening to that, you're thinking this is a cold-blooded, cold-hearted murderer. Like, she doesn't sound like she has any remorse at all for what she did. There are other videos where she's actually at her court hearing and she doesn't appear to be remorseful at all. She's not crying. She's just standing there. She's silent. She doesn't appear remorseful at all. But my thought process is she still even aware of what happened yet? If she was under a demonic influence, it's possible that she's still not even registering what happened yet. Maybe when she get in jail and the devil has succeeded. Maybe he succeeded. I got you to unalive your daughter. Now you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. I don't need you no more. Like, you're going to be in jail. Then he could release her and she in jail for the rest of her life. And then it might hit her that what happened. I don't know. It's interesting to me, because there's no, at this moment, documented history of her having mental illness, and maybe she snapped. Maybe all the stress of all the life-altering events that was happening to her, she snapped. Does snapping give you a reason to unalive anybody? No, but it happens all the time because they got a whole show named after it called Snapped, and they got a whole show called Fatal Attraction. Snapped is like the white people version of it, and Fatal Attraction on BET is like the black people version of people who just step out of who they normally are and do things that their family can't believe they did. But those cases, honestly, I don't really feel like those are demonic attacks. I think because they're usually planned out. So I don't really think those are really like demonic attacks. But it is an example of people stepping out of themselves because things around them, they just don't know how to deal with it. And I think this is what happened with her. She just didn't know how to deal with the world crumbling down on her. And maybe, in her grieving for her mom, she never kind of was able to come out of that grief, and the devil just kind of got his way in there and had her commit a heinous crime that she probably wouldn't have committed under other circumstances. Let me know in the comments, what do you think, after listening to the video? Do you think that this could be a demonic attack, or do you just straight up think she got mental health illnesses? Let me know in the comments. And I think that I'm going to do a lot more videos like this because it's so much going on in the world. Like the Idaho murders, the 4 college students that was murdered in Idaho, and now that they found his killer, now I think he is mental health, just based on stuff that other people have said about him. Growing up from him, some neighbors kind of said some stuff, and I think now that one might be mental health. we'll talk about that one at another time. So let me know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. It's Angel the Psych NP. Happy New Year. Ciao.